Hey guys, what's up? It's Sean, Autotopia LA. This is my friend Morgan Clarke, Morgan Clarke Design, which by the way, he does have his own YouTube channel. Go check it out, especially if you're into off-road stuff. So we're out at the cruise the other day, you know, the Cruise and PCH event. Hearing you rolling in, me and like 3 other guys just went, big block. I hear big block, and we just kind of zoned out and followed and came over. And that's about all I know about this. We talked about it, right? Like I like to learn about it in the moment, you know.
Absolutely, it's got a story. On the big block note, I always used to hear from one of my buddy's dads that you feel a big block and you hear a small block. I don't know if it's safe to call us a big block though, because it is an LSX.
Okay.
But it's a big LSX, enough to be a big block. The numbers are.
So before even getting to the build element, because you said this truck has a story to it.
Yeah, I have a shop in Simi Valley, Morgan Clarke Design, and we are kind of infamous for building unique vehicles. I guess you'd call this a pre-runner. I name them, this is Vivian. Eric Connor is a friend of mine. You know, it's the classic when you build stuff for people, you kind of get into an intimate relationship with them and it turns from a business relationship usually to a friendship.
Yeah,
and
man. Yeah.
That's Eric. This was a Toyota Tundra, like a Gen 1.
I mean, dude, I see Ford, I see F100, right? I figured this is an F100 when you rolled in the other day. When you were showing me the footage out in the desert with you guys ripping it in Glamis, I'm looking at a friggin' gray Toyota Tundra.
Yeah.
So there's still small elements of this that are actually Toyota Tundra?
There's 48 inches of frame. So I mean, that's something. Eric's dream is always to have an F100. I want an F100 pre-runner. We were gonna plan to put an F100 cab on the Tundra. The old Tundra had a 12-inch narrower track width in the rear, so almost like a trike. It was narrow, so it was unstable because then when you turn, the drivability was weird because it was so narrow in the rear. Goes to LS Fest and I tell him, I said, I got a bad feeling about LS Fest, blah, blah. I see like a picture Saturday night, he rolls. He dropped the truck off as the crunched up Tundra. We took everything off. We preserved the front bulkhead, which is where the lower suspension is, and then pretty much chopped it, 4 feet or so of frame rail, and then built the whole rear, and then constructed a new cage. We body dropped it so everything sits lower. So the body dropped like a street truck. Yeah. Like where your frame is up into your cab, almost where the rocker is level. Yeah. And the whole thing, this body unbolts right now.
So it just unbolts and comes right off.
Yeah,
it's
and that's
all basically chassis.
We were building this like if he rolls, or it wasn't an if, it was a when. It was when he rolls next. Sorry, Eric, you know this though. And I wanted it to be a consumable. Comes off, put another one on. So like when we look at it, all the interior panels are all aluminum, either quarter turn fastened on there or they're all tabbed. So everything comes out. Even like your radiator is tied to the chassis, and then like the core support for here comes off, the fender mounts come off, the body comes off, the rear bedside mounts come off, so then it looks like a truggy.
And you can run it like that.
Exactly. That's what we started last May.
Wow, gosh, so just 1 year all that done.
Yeah, and it wasn't a year because we had it done for Halloween, so it was 6 months or so.
You cooked on it.
Yeah, we did, and it was a around the clock thing, and it was a lesson for me too because we had done a lot of fabrication. I only had my business for 3 years, and I've been doing it my whole life. Yeah. But not turnkey. So like this is what we learned plumbing on, and final assembly, and all those hours that like burn away. And we had great success. We put it all together. We had 0 issues, like just right off the bat. Plumbing, wiring, everything, functionality, geometry, perfect. Like we took it out, tested it, 110 miles an hour in Barstow, no problem.
Can we pop the hood?
Oh yeah.
So what did you do engine-wise? I mean, I can't even see it, dude. It's stuffed so damn far back and down.
That's why the hood is like this. A pre-runner, that term, like desert off-road racing teams they would have their main truck. Let's just say like there's a unlimited.
The truck they're gonna race.
Their trophy truck, right?
Right.
And then they're allowed to go run the course beforehand. So they want to take notes. They want to pre-run that course.
Yep.
Blah,
but
blah,
a pre-runner like has to be capable, but it also, they want it to be comfortable, right?
Original thing was to get the notes to pre-run. Then it goes, well, how do we get accurate notes if we're not in something that's doing the same shit as our car? If I'm in a trophy truck, I can't go pre-run in a Baja Bug because the speeds that I'm gonna go through things are gonna affect.
It's gonna change everything.
So then it started, well, okay, if we have a trophy truck, how do we make that street legal where we can get on the road in Mexico? How do we make it something where it's still comfortable because we're taking notes, we need air conditioning, all this stuff. So that's where that evolution came from.
Of the pre-runner.
This is more of a utility pre-runner because it's not comfort in there. Like it has a suede dash and seats, but it's aluminum floors, grip tape, you know, headsets, no upholstery. Heat
so it doesn't hit the luxury pre-runner category,
no.
But it's not
this would
technically a trophy truck.
Exactly. It would lean towards a trophy truck over pre-runner.
Got it.
You asked about why it's so buried back there.
Yeah,
it's dumped into the firewall.
I mean, you can't even see the engine, dude.
Just like anything, balance. right? The off-road cars love to have weight in the back.
Because they handle better that way,
Yeah, you
right?
just don't want the thing nose heavy. And it's a pickup truck, so just think about in the sand with a pickup truck.
Weight in the
You're
back.
getting stuck all the time. It's not hooking up. It's not. That's why that's back there. The motor is it's a Robert Maruzzi build. Maruzzi does a ton of pre-runner motors, mostly GM motors.
Got it.
So it's a 460 cubic inch LSX iron block, big Frankenstein heads.
Like how much power does that thing make?
750 at the crank. But it's a 5,800 pound truck, wet.
One thing I've learned about them is they get really, really heavy with the amount of fuel you're carrying, the big tires, oftentimes tools, and so you need the power.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's consistent power. It's pump gas motor. It had just a normal, typical GM 454 LSX. We were having coolant issues, and that thing was just kind of eating away itself. And now we like have a big ass oil cooler in here, and everything is as good as it can be now.
Yeah.
You know?
What does it go to transmission?
4L80.
Got it.
Fully built for a maximum. A one-piece drive shaft, and then that's a 4-inch Camberg housing, and then big Camberg hubs, jumbo 40 spline axles, 10-inch ring gear from Evan Weller. So it's all trophy truck. It's 6 on 6.5, big 6-piston JMRs. Everything is exactly what you'd have on a trophy truck.
Even travel. Didn't I hear you the other day saying like 36 inches?
It's like a
travel?
yard and 2 feet.
So we got a Toyota mixes with GM, mixes with Ford, which by the way, personally, I love it because I love Frankenstein. I grew up in the hot rod world.
Okay.
So is the fenders you guys, or is this something you're able to buy and then fit to the vehicle?
This is an off-the-shelf item, if you will. So that's McQueen does these. And obviously we, shorter wheelbase, we kind of scalloped onto the cab there.
Right.
But no, that's off the shelf.
And then this is an actual F100.
73. And it's registered as a 73, smog exempt, insured.
I love it. I dig the look too. I was telling you the other day how you guys retain this whole patina look. Didn't you say you even nailed it in a couple spots to kind of patina it a bit more?
Yeah, I took other spots and I just like scuffed with like a DA sander just to kind of like tie things in.
So now all the suspension stuff, control arms, the added framework and stuff, is this you guys building all this stuff, or is there elements that you buy?
You can. I mean, there's people that make kits. This is called a center mount kit, meaning like the lower control arms are almost close to center mount of the bulkhead or the frame, right? So that's probably 8 inches or so. There's still a steering gear in there. There's a RAM assist. And then it's on a swinger system. So they, steering gear kind of steers the swingers.
Okay.
The adverse would be a rack and pinion.
Got it.
With like a servo.
Got it. Yeah. This is such a foreign world to me,
Yeah.
It's having ridden with Rob in his Ranger, and hitting the whoops and hitting jumps. I was actually prepared for a really gnarly, bumpy ride, and I was shocked at how much the suspension does its job. So it's actually a fairly smooth ride when you're pounding whoops,
Yeah, when you feel it, then you had to earn that to feel it in something like this.
Yeah. So is this all you as well?
Yeah.
Hand fabbed at your shop?
Yeah, we just did this part. All this bumper has roll into it, nothing's straight.
Yeah.
With racing, there's always kind of contact with stuff, so like having like some kind of a Nerf bar. This is also like reminiscent of an old school style like bumper.
Yeah.
Like a lot of old pre-owners would have that big, you call it like a cow pusher. Baja Designs jumped on board with us too, so like I kind of outfitted LP6s in here for the headlights, like these are functional.
Dude, your welds are stunning.
Everything we build, like in the shop, we use chromoly and we TIG weld everything. The only time we'd use like a mild steel would be for sheet metal work. The way it looks like this is because you need to prep the material to get a consistent clean weld. If I welded to this portion that has this mill scale on it, I'd get contamination before I'd get into a clean weld.
What are you running wheel and tire and brake and all that stuff, sizes and everything?
They used to run a tire called Project Tire, BFG. And now BFG runs this KR3, which is like their trophy truck tire. Every truck has that. Like,
got it.
That's your
and
desert.
It's a 40-inch tire.
40-inch tire. 40, 12.5, and then 17-inch wheel. The brakes are JMRs. They're trophy truck brakes. They're like a 6-piston, but they're a robust 6-piston. JMR's just been that one that's kind of worked with us. And like, if I believe in something, then like I'll keep running that. Same with Baja Design. So
yeah,
it's just like it happens that they're really good.
Baja Design I see on, it seems like everything that does off-road, you're running those lights nowadays,
Yeah, and then there's lights in here too.
Oh God, there is.
Yeah, the same stuff with all the design. Like this is not for looks, this is for functionality.
Man, there's gotta be tons of redundancy you have to go through as well, right? Like cooling systems and stuff. I mean, there's gotta be mass amounts of cooling on this thing.
The only thing that redundancy wise is like fuel pumps. Always dual fuel pumps, dual batteries. Things like that where like they're vitals that you need like if you're somewhere far. Before we started building them, it was complicated to me, the whole thing. How do you make the whole thing run and make this work. And then once you get through it, you're like, this is pretty simple.
It's so different, it seems like, because of the beating this is going to take versus the beating a hot rod ripping down the streets is going to take is radically different.
What this is built for is consistent abuse.
For hours at a time.
You can take a truck and you can have some stock stuff on it and you can try to run that, but no matter what, the stock stuff is not engineered for off-road.
The other one is exhaust.
Would you like to lay on the ground with it?
It is serious. Yeah, totally, dude. Yeah.
There is no muffler. 2 1/4 primaries. And then you can see it goes through the frame. It actually has a big ovalized section in the frame that's boxed, and it goes through the frame and it pops out through the side right where it is. Again, functionality, that's a design detail now, but that's also because we didn't want to run the exhaust further back and go around the shocks and have it kind of just blindsided into the back chassis. So we're like, pop it out.
I mean, I'm a big side exit guy, and that, plus the shape you did on that is pretty radical.
It's actually 3.5 inch stainless, long tube tri-Y. And then it goes 3.5. And then right when I knew we were gonna come up, I put a transition to make it 4, just so we'd get something hardy coming out the side. I love exhaust exits on cars because
I'm the same, man.
There's so much opportunity to put good design into them.
The creativity that goes into a custom build and the different choices people make, and I always have appreciation for it. Even stuff like, dude, I'm the furthest from a lowrider guy. But there's a lot of functionality in it. I mean, how much they have to box out the frames on those things, how beefy the control arms are, because they're gonna pound on them, you know?
Totally. My Uncle Dale used to race Reno air races. My grandfather was a P-47 pilot. So like, I have a problem with aviation. Like, I love aviation, and especially like warbirds. That feeling of like a old warbird is what this is for me.
It's bitching, man. I just started to notice this tin work back. This is all you guys again in-house, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's a trough back there. Like, you could probably stand up on this thing and like look in there. That's your auxiliary storage.
That's almost like a trunk.
Yeah, I mean, it completely sucks to get to.
You can walk on everything here.
Yeah, like if I want to stand, I can.
Jeez, dude.
If you had a soft cooler, or say you were gonna do like a couple nights, you could put all your soft bags in there and stuff everything. This is your 2 batteries, so that's an access panel, service panel. But if you start looking at all the design, like there's symmetry in everything.
Yeah, there sure is, man.
Every single part of it is like tied in, and then we, did that treatment off the back of the roof, like a lip or a wing, and then recessed a bar in there, so it gives you that third brake light. Chop back window, so that's factory glass. This thing has 16 to 18 inches of up travel from ride height. So the rudimentary way is if you hit something that was 18 inches tall, it would go through it. What I'm getting at is the shock mounts have to be high for that, because they're big shocks, they're trophy truck shocks. So that back window is chopped.
Yeah.
The whole lower portion is chopped and rounded, and then we put the return back into there to fit it.
How big is your fuel cell on this
75
thing?
gallons.
What does this thing burn fuel-wise?
I want to say 5. 5?
Dude, like you said, you're 5,800 pounds on 40-inch tires. None of this stuff helps for fuel consumption at all. And all the utility stuff like this, I mean, you need a jack, you need your spares.
This is the real basic stuff. There's a toolkit, there's 2 tool bags, 3 fire extinguishers, fluids on each side, right? You can see those in there, the quarts. And
Dude,
then
that's so cool.
Jack, impact, jack handle.
Bro, I wouldn't have even, I swear to God, I'm looking at everything else. I would have missed the fluids there.
It's just like building a hot rod. You have to figure out packaging. Like, packaging's the name of the game with the whole thing.
It's one of the things that drives me a bit nutty in the hot rod world is sometimes there's a car that's, and it's really a show car because in order to like add brake fluid, you got to pull the dash off or something.
I call that a process.
Yeah, like a $2,500 weekend process.
A couple days.
Always, I'll take function over form every single time because I actually do enjoy driving,
Totally. That's where this comes back. This is like a utility. It is simple. It is right in your face. Like, what you see is what you get. There's still like, I always stress design. We touched on the jack and everything.
Did you do a Rob type thing over here?
But I have a better Rob type thing.
Dude, okay.
I have a better one. I got this from Rob. Rob, I got this from you. You know this.
And like I said, I saw it on a Herman Motorsports car, a Class 1 car years ago, but.
That is so cool. That's rad.
So, same deal.
That's bitchin', isn't it?
So that's that, right? That's locked and it just floats.
It ain't going anywhere.
I mean, you can see the tube flex when I did that.
Yeah, totally, dude. That's slick, man. The first time I ever saw that was on Rob's truck, and I just thought that was a really genius way to carry a power tool. So I see what you mean now looking in here, how it's not a luxury pre-run or it's a go out and pound it and you're not worried about, Now that said, I mean, everything you need is here, right? I mean, for one, dude, it lights up like crazy in here.
This is what we wanted to take everything apart, and everything's powder coated, like it's all sound deadening and heat deadening everywhere. Every panel has something, whether that's for heat or it's for sound deadening, like it's a win.
Yeah, it's got to still be loud as hell cruising around in this thing.
Yeah, we're gonna wear headsets for sure. It's optimal if you have an earbud or something in, and then your headset, because it's loud. It's all 2-inch chromoly. It's like on all the mains, we use 120 wall thickness, and then everywhere that we can get away with it, like engineering wise, we use thinner wall.
To try to slightly lighten it a little bit,
and
where
it worked.
you can weight save.
Yeah, and like some of, you can tell there's
the
thicker.
density is much more radical here.
Yep, and then if you see there's subtle rolls, all this is radiused.
So to kind of follow the form of the roof line and stuff,
And then the other thing that we do with this, like our signature for these things, these are called intrusion bars. And I use arrow tube, so that's a streamlined teardrop tube. Have you ever done that where you stand on an empty can and you can stand on it and then you flick it and it crunches?
Yes.
And you can put all your weight on it because the structure is perfect like that. But as soon as you upset it,
you dink it.
And that intrusion bar is a perfect place for that because that tubing is really only meant as a one lateral support. It's not meant for like a multi-loaded structure.
No, are all your light controls are over here, not over on the driver's side?
Yeah, it's set up like for co-driver style.
Oh, got it.
The vitals are over there, and I don't necessarily like that. I don't think Eric really likes that either, because it's inconvenient.
As much as I like seeing, like Rob's truck, I think is a great example of a very luxury but very functional. I mean, that truck gets down.
Absolutely.
You know? I like seeing how industrial this is, how raw and purpose-built it is.
Absolutely.
Not to say his isn't purpose-built. I mean, I know it is, but it looks so much nicer that it doesn't show all these elements, you know?
Totally. Yeah, I think there's wins to be had either way, and I think it's really just that overall intention of what we were going for.
100%, dude.
And that's
definitely.
Like the door panels, we did the door panels, and like the dash, this is a fiberglass dash. This is something you can buy. This is a Fiberworks dash. I was always inspired by like a lot of the GT cars and stuff. Like they have full bore race cars and rally cars. They could be stripped down, body in white, and then they just have a full suede dash.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, that is the ticket.
It is slick.
Now, functionality, back to that. If you have paint, it's reflecting. There's always highlights going to your face.
Sure.
So the whole reason they have
this
it
gets rid of it all.
It mutes everything.
Do you have audio in here, or is that all through
the headset.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's the same as Rob's. So Rob's
Got
could
it.
have music come on, and then when you talk, the comms will intersect that. You know, the 3-seat is very comfortable too. That's a.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Sitting here is
If it's
not
not
bad?
clogged with stuff, I would give it a try just to feel it. You know.
I know where I'm sitting today, and I'm gonna, the whole time riding with him, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, dude, this is really cool. Hey, let's scratch that head there."
Yeah. We were very ambitious about putting 4 seats in here.
There's no way.
It fills up fast.
I mean, I'm shocked you were able to squeeze this one in, to
Yeah.
be honest with you, dude.
If you can see here, there's a viewing window for the sheet metal, the shocks you can see in there.
Oh, shit.
See that? That's just a visual, but it's kind of to show that like we mean business. The shocks are in the cab. Like there is no shocks in the back. This structural piece here is your shock mount.
This is really bitchin', Morgan. You guys, I say this all the time. What I have to say means nothing. I'm another dude with an opinion. But I gotta admit, it's just fun to walk through this and see.
Sure.
This is mind-boggling to me. I just noticed on your pedals over here, is that in case your pedal sticks, you can pull your foot back?
Yeah, sometimes if you're just doing monster trucks, you kind of snap the thing back.
So
and
you can
it's
pull
also
back
so
on it.
your foot doesn't bounce out. It's the same with that dead pedal on the left, because sometimes it gets so choppy that every limb is bouncing.
Bitchin', yeah. Let me jump out and show me more underneath.
If you really look, this is just raw chassis. So,
Oh yeah.
you know, like your pivots.
Dude.
This is the end of the frame right here. You can kind of see the frame rail, and then this is your pivot boxes. We built those. This is all your inner workings under here.
God, this is so radical.
And that's what I mean by that belly pan, right? So that's just one huge 1/4-inch belly pan. At the front of the frame there, the bulkhead, it's got a plate where it registers into. So then if it bottoms out, it doesn't peel the skid plate back, right? It's kind of like an envelope that it goes into.
Yeah. Super bitchin', dude. Let's go drive.
Fast as it was on Sunday, just because that 6.9 was nasty. It was like per second, snappy. And then you'd be on in fourth at 4 grand on the freeway, going 70 or something. You know, this is much more drivable.
You know, it's funny. It was one of the things I didn't even ask you when we were were talking in the interview, but you said it was geared at a 629,
Yeah.
and now it's geared to what?
It's like a 530 something. 540 something.
So is it a manual valve lock as well for transmission?
Yeah.
Everything has to be shifted up and down. Radically foreign to me. all the travel.
Yeah.
You probably did you three-wheel it just now?
No, it's got a sway bar, so it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
A lot of that freewheeling comes from dudes that have like a 4-link setup, and then the front's limited travel, so it's like really competitive. It doesn't do that much tire.
Because I would think like you probably want all 4 tires on the ground when you're on the ground,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you don't even want body. Nobody wants body. Even that sway bar is an inch and a half thick bar, and it's still body. When you do the front, sometimes that blends to understeer. And like I'd rather have the back flip out and understeer.
Got it.
It's much better off-road. You're not pushing it and stuff.
Man, it's just wild how you guys have to deal with such different levels of geometry. I mean, I guess it's still conceptually the same as it is in like a pro touring car. Geometries to produce what you want.
Yeah. Road cars require precision. They require engineering because finite adjustment will equal a different result.
Yeah.
With dirt, like, yeah, kinda, but it's like still dirt. You know, you can almost have a death wobble in the truck. Very cool.
Have you been off-roading your whole life?
Yeah, I rode dirt bikes. I fell in love with the pre-runner thing, and I had like a stockish pre-runner when I was 16, 17. I love the build and the pursuit of the pre-runner. Like, I like building stuff. I like creating things. I see it's limited, right? You can feel where it stops, right? That's not meaningless. Like that's where the sway bar says, hey, it's enough. And you know that, so it inspires that confidence where it's not out of control.
So the way it feels to the untrained guy, me, it feels like we're gonna go like this.
Right? And so, but think about the consistencies. When I did that and then I did that, it's the same. Because the sway bars would hang. And there's a dual rate coilover, so that one primary coil, you know, that is collapsed.
That's your weight transfer ultimately. Now it's planted kind of.
Yeah, that's where it limited the sway.
Got it. Seats are actually, for a total race seat, it's a really comfortable seat.
Yeah, these are PRVs. I've had a relationship with PRV again, same kind of thing. Dude, I definitely like Sparkos. Like a QRTC is kind of a similar seat like this. The thing is, if you're a bigger dude, like they make wider. Like PRV will make a Bravo or an Alpha that's wider. Like even my shoulders, I'm kind of kicked in.
Yeah.
But the hips is where it matters.
is that, you guys? Man, I'm still slightly jacked after the ride of that thing. You know, the little bit I've been in off-road vehicles, they're really just fun. The amount of movement they get, the forward lean under braking, the backward lean under acceleration, you get it, you know, all the movement these things do. The little bit that we just went off-road without even expecting it, and just super fun. And top it all off, getting to tie in some footage that Morgan provided us to show how capable this truck really is, I think gives you the story and lets you know that this is real deal. We will definitely do more with Morgan because I think he's a phenomenal builder and I think he's a really super cool guy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I just had a blast today, man. And that's it. Thanks as always, you guys, for hanging, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, man. Later.